What's going on, guys and gals? I hope you are all well, happy, and healthy. Steve here, bringing you another movie review of the week. I went to see the third installment in the Tron franchise, Tron Ares, and I'm ready to give you my full and final thoughts on the latest installment. Tron Ares is directed by Joachim Ronning. It is rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 59 minutes. Mankind encounters AI beings for the first time when a highly sophisticated program, Ares, leaves the digital world for a dangerous mission in the real world. We're gonna start with the positives first. Jared Leto, I thought he was great in this. I think his sort of like alien nature when it comes to, how he interacts with the real world as he learns what it means to be human was a cool journey to go on. And I had a blast seeing his character gradually, become more and more real as the story went on. Do I like Leto as an actor? I mean, I consider him to be a bit pretentious, I guess is the right word. I don't hate him necessarily, but I think his approach to acting where he just stays in character for the entire production, even when the cameras aren't rolling. And it just seems a little too crazy to take a role that seriously every single time. But I think his deadpan performance here, it worked well since, he is an artificial intelligence that's learning to be human. So I think in this situation, it worked for me. Evan Peters plays Julian Dillinger, the grandson of Ed Dillinger, and I think he was also a joy to watch. Anything with Evan Peters really is just great, so it's no surprise that he was one of the highlights of the movie, and it seemed like he was really enjoying himself just playing this sleazy CEO of Dillinger Systems, trying to get one over on the competition, that being NCOM, by bringing artificial intelligence into the real world. Now, something that just has to be said, and I feel like it'd be stupid to never mention it, this is definitely a beautiful film to look at in terms of the visuals. There were so many moments where I was literally just in awe of how pretty this movie looks on those terms alone. This is also in 3D. I haven't seen the film in 3D, but I think if you were to go see it in 3D, you would just have an even better experience in terms of the visuals. It really is just so eye-popping, so beautiful to look at. The red beams that pop out from the bikes and the weapons and just the grid itself, it was all just spectacular to look at. And that is something I'm sure a lot of other content creators, will agree on, as well as some other things that I'll mention in just a bit. One of those being the action. I think the action is really top notch here, but I think that's only because it works in tandem with the visuals so well. So it makes for really frenetic, action heavy moments. My favorite sequence most of all is the motorcycle chase sequence. That was just balls to the wall crazy to watch. I just loved every second of it. It was so fast and so crazy. I can only imagine while I was sitting there if I had seen this in 3D, I would have had the time of my life. It's easily my favorite part of the film, for sure. Probably the biggest positive I have for this film, though, is the soundtrack. Finding out that 9 Inch Nails composed the score as well as made original music for the film was just a perfect storm of collaboration. Trent Reznor, who's the front man for 9 Inch Nails, he's mostly become a film composer over these past few years, but I think the music that he and the rest of the band would put into this film and how it would play underneath all of those action moments was the absolute best, and it fits so well with the tone of the movie and is easily a score, at least to me, that I would love to just go back to again and again and again. But, with all those great aspects of the film, I did walk out of the theater very underwhelmed with everything else. So let's get into the bad. Firstly, the surrounding characters that the story revolves around, mostly with the human character of Eve Kim, played by Greta Lee, who is the current CEO of NCOM, was just very forgettable to me. I just did not resonate with her whatsoever. She's given a reason for doing what she's doing in the story, but I just didn't care enough to feel like I could be attached to her character. She solely is there to have that loose human connection with the audience. At least that's what I felt. She had some good moments on screen with Leto, I will admit, but that just wasn't enough to really save her as an interesting character. Now, I want to talk about the biggest crime that I think this film commits. Now, you're probably wondering if this is a direct sequel to Tron Legacy, and to answer your question, unfortunately, it isn't. At least not fully. It more or less feels like a standalone sequel for the majority of the runtime. We do get some tiny Easter eggs that reference that past film, but it's so minimal, and that's why I was so underwhelmed with this movie by the end. I loved Tron Legacy, despite not having seen the original Tron, but I just fell in love with the world of the grid, the story of the ISOs and how they're sort of evolving and becoming more than what they were programmed to be, and the way that the angle that story was going, how it was going to set something up in the future. I was really excited for that, but this film just doesn't do that. But we get essentially a side story that gives very, very minor hints that we could go there in a future film should this film succeed at the box office, which is, looking pretty likely that that's just not going to be the case. I don't think this is really a spoiler to say, because I know some people probably think that he is in the movie. But yes, Jeff Bridges is in the film, but it just never felt organic in any way. In fact, it felt quite forced. It's almost as if the writers forgot to include him at all and just felt the need to have that loose connection, so they shoehorned him into the story like very late into production. Maybe he wasn't in the script at all until like a rewrite or whatever. But when he does appear, it's closer towards the end of the film, and it just never felt earned or fun to watch even. He just felt like he didn't even need to be there because he was just so much of an afterthought. I do like the visual approach that the movie takes in those moments when he does appear, but that's really about it. Overall, I'm going to give Tron Ares a score of 2 out of 5. The visuals are beautiful, the action is great, and the soundtrack is something really special and complements the film so well. But bland human characters and lack of cohesion to Tron Legacy is really disappointing. Ares feels more like a step backwards and does nothing to truly move the franchise forward. Those are my thoughts. Now I want to know what you guys thought of Tron Ares. Did you like it, or do you feel the same as me? Where would you rank it on your list of the Tron films? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed what you're watching, subscribe to Geek Boulevard if you're new, and tick that bell so you can always be notified when my next review or trailer reaction drops on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to always stay classy, stay geeky, and I'll catch you in the next video.